My whole life they didn't want me
Taste the
to do shit.
motherfucking freedom.
You know what I'm saying? What you gonna do? Where
Get
you
kind
gonna
of
go?
crazy sometimes, you know what I'm
How
saying?
you
You
gonna
just
make
got
some
shit, I
money?
just push, you know what I'm saying? Me, the way I work is I keep operating because I never fail, you know what I'm saying? I fall, I pick myself back up, I keep going, you know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck what happens, you know?
King's
You
Logic,
can't take me
Female
down.
D.
There's no force in
Hey,
this
yo,
world that
Mom,
can fucking cancel my
what's going
energy.
up?
Fuck it,
Get
you
down
know?
here.
Let's go,
Get
man.
down.
I'm back. Already twisted, no need to introduce. Get lifted one line. Political rap, milk, killing cancer like pills. Pop the general, it's arsenic. Retarded to the flame. Go against the grain, feel the same numb pain. Fuck shots, grab the bottle. Getting hollow, run for cover like the day after tomorrow. You can say it's chill, life's cold, but keep it real. Undercover, lost the battle, but still won the war. Dark side of the force, mind trick, transform. Jedi John Connor, doing what you wanna. Puffin' nails, hydroponics, getting lost in the madness. Sustained at the level that you practice. On my own planet while I bring it back to Earth. Crashing like a comet and I'm coming feet first. Fuck that, already spent and it ain't no apple pie. Try to tell the truth when you living in a lie.
Hello, what's up, and welcome back to another episode of Tills from the Mucosal Melanoma Survivor podcast. I'm your host, Chris White, Mucosal Melanoma Survivor, Thriver, and Advocate. Please welcome on today's show a mellow homie I met in Washington, D.C. this year during Advocacy Days in March. Please give a warm welcome for Mrs. Candice Mason, part 2.
And that's a big thing and stuff. And so I literally, as I started to recover and everything, like, I noticed how, I was just like completely white, but the more I exposed my skin, the more my pigment tried to start coming out. And that's why my skin's got this like splotchy look to it, you know what I'm saying? And stuff. And then I noticed very quickly, like, if I don't cover up or do something, like, it could, you know what I'm saying? And like, I never actually started going to a dermatologist until I got this diagnosis, because never really had a reason. The only other time I'd really had done anything kind of related to anything like that was I had a birthmark that was like maybe the size of a thumb, that was on my back that I was born with. And then when I was like, 14 years old, 15 years old, and I was in high school, I was out here in Texas, and I was going to the doctor doing checkups, and he said something. And so they ended up doing a surgery and removing it just as precautionary, you know what I mean? And they got clear margins. And the thing was like, I was awake for the surgery and I laid on my stomach, you know what I'm saying? And then, the dude just numbed it up like real hardcore and then just cut it out. My dad sat in the room and watched it. I remember my dad telling me about watching the surgery, and he was just, because I wasn't thinking about like what it, like look like, because I just know how it felt, because, they cut it out. And then afterwards he took my skin and had to like, close it shut, and then he sewed it on one line, and then he and then did a double line of, stitches and stuff. And there were dissolvable, I don't know, there was like a permanent one and then a dissolvable one or something. I don't know, but he double stitched it. And then he put this big pad over it, and then, like wrapped it around my body, real tight and everything and stuff. And so I never actually saw it and this and that, but like, I remember my dad like looking on his face and then him telling me about it. He was like, dude, they went and they cut it because they got clear margins, and so they cut like around it and then down it and below it, and so like, and all that. And then my dad watched them do it because they did that, and they threw it in the jar and then they closed it up. He was telling me how gross it was and stuff, and I was like, oh. But that was the only thing. And then here I am, like 36 years old now. It's like you got mucosal melanoma, so the melanoma diagnosed. So I go to the dermatologist and stuff, and I was get checked out, but they wanted me to see her every 3 months now. And so I was seeing her every 3 months. And then after a while, especially after I had my clinical trial, I was like, how about we just see each other every 6 months? Because after that, I literally have zero moles on my body. I have, it's real splotchy, in certain places in this, but it's flat as there's no moles anywhere and stuff. But I still go in and she still checks me and everything.
The long-term side effects of, this TILS treatment.
Yeah.
I've been, I can now, it makes me a little nervous, but I can now go yearly to the dermatologist. I think it was every 3 months, and then it was every 6 months. But, I've had some other things removed just because, like, well, I don't know. I'd rather science tell me. And you know, the docs were like, they look fine, but if it bothers you, we'll take it. So I've had a few things removed, but they came back fine. So I just keep trying to protect my skin when, you know, when I need to.
Like, what is it? Like, you know, the UPF stuff, you know, I got some O'Neill gear that I like to wear a lot, you know, that I throw it, you know, with the hood, you know, that comes over. Cause my biggest thing is my neck, you know what I mean? And like, when I'm, you know, done with this later, I'm gonna go mow the yard day and stuff. I'm gonna cut some flowers too. I got some banging flowers going on right now. Like, I'm gonna cut them and stuff, and then I'm gonna sell them to like the husbands. Go be like, hey, you need to go give these to your wife, but you gotta sell me right here. Here's some fresh flowers. Trust me, she's driving by every day, going, that guy's yard's awesome. The greenest grass on the street. You know, how do you get your grass so green? Well, I water it and fertilize it. I take care of it.
I'm running out of water here, so I'm looking at dirt and weeds, some cactus, some trees that are native.
I don't know. I mean, I really don't water it that much. I pay attention to, you know, when it rains and you fertilize it right before it. You know, I literally, everything that I planted, those were, you know, how you go to like Walmart or no, it's Lowe's or the, you know, wherever, and you get the seeds in the packets.
Yeah.
Whatever wildflowers will grow in your region, you know, that's on the shelf, you know, that's what I did. And then, I kind of planted them in certain areas, but I forgot what they were. But I was like, these colors are cool. You know, I would be like, I mean, that's all I was thinking about was like, this would be cool. And this color, you know, if all these colors all popped up, you know, at the same time. And anyways, and so like it comes back like every year, and I'm like, man, you know, right now it's popping. You know, oh hell yeah. I mean, I got Yard of the Month like in 2021, or I want to say, 2021. It was like one of those like validating, like feel good moments. I'm like, man, I just survived cancer. I got Yard of the Month.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going down. You know what I mean? Like, it feels so good. So it was all gravy. But anyways, man, yeah, I'm coming up on my 5-year anniversary, right? Like, is that 5-year anniversary for mucosal melanoma is like big deal. Is it the same thing? Like, do you have your milestone anniversaries? You know what I'm saying? Like, I
have a lot of them, but now that I'm in survivorship, I just stick with the most impactful one, which is like the brain surgery. So that was 2019.
Right. Excuse me. Oh my God.
All right, I got my coffee.
I know, right? What else was I wanting to dig into? So many things. It feels like the month of May would be like, I guess, our January or whatever. I mean, like, because like I'm just like feeling like getting started. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and this is kind of like the first year where I have so much going on in my personal life that, and you know, I'm trying to grow and change things up that are stalled for me. But so I'm just supporting everybody and, you know, putting stuff out there. But I'm really thankful for the Melanoma Research Foundation because I feel like somebody's finally listening to me.
Hell yeah. No, they are the greatest. They are the greatest. Like, all the funds that I'm making on this pickleball tournament are going to them for their Out of the Shadows program, which so that way, you know, it's literally towards mucosal melanoma. So that'll go in that pot. You know what I mean? So, you know, I got like 3 weeks to kind of like, you know, push and promote. You know, I'm trying to think outside the box, you know, locally and just get like, you know,
locally, think globally.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, get it going. You know, I mean, June 4th here is National Cancer Survivors Day.
Okay.
2023, straight up. Like, I remember, like seriously, like the first year or the second, I don't know, it was either 2020 or 2021. My cousin had texted me, and like on whatever day that was, because it's always like the first it's Saturday or Sunday or whatever in June, and whatever the 4th is, and then was like, hey, dude, I just noticed today was National Cancer Survivors Day. He's like, it's pretty cool. I'm glad I know you. And I was like, oh, it is? And so I started paying attention. I'm like, that's a thing? Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm going to rep that. That's like, that's another holiday to celebrate. You know what I'm saying? Like, Clinical Trials Day was May 20th, I think. I was like, rep that.
In May, like Don't Friday, Melanoma Monday, all of this stuff. I'm just like barely keeping up myself.
This has been the first year that I've been like way gung ho on melanoma, May, you know what I mean? And good thing. I mean, it was super cool, because in the middle of the month, I got that deal from the governor thing that said, hey, like, state of Texas. And I was like, oh, snap. You know what I mean?
I tried that 2 different times. This is where I'm upset with my state representatives because they have a website to do this, which I have done. I've tried different web browsers. I still get the same stupid error message. So I email whatever email's on there, right? So it goes to the government, the state, who actually is looking at this, who is giving a shit besides me. So I text them, tell them my technical issue, and then I was like, here is my proclamation. Please advise. Then they tell me to go back to the website, and I'm like, I just told you it's not working. So I think I have to go in person.
Wow.
Because I tried to do it for this year, and then I'm going through the motions, and I'm like, this feels oddly familiar. So I did try it a few years ago, and then I was like, oh, this is why I haven't been able to do it. So
because they have a busted website.
Yes.
That's all it is. All they got to do is fix it, get a new one, whatever.
I know how people move like slow like molasses.
Snails.
A retirement government job.
Like sloths.
Yep.
They're like, what? Are you talking about?
So,
they're playing dumb, like, I don't know what you mean. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
I mean,
it's gonna happen. It's just gonna take time, but that's like a 2.5-hour drive for me, round trip. And then you gotta find stuff.
You gotta make sure he's like, there. You know what I'm saying? Be like, dude, why you ducking me, huh?
They don't know what's coming. Like I've already been to Washington D.C. What's the state of Arizona?
Yeah, I can do it. It's easy. Come on, bring your fellow peoples. You got fellow Arizonians that'll get down on that. Like, I mean, like, is that like what 2.5-hour drive? I mean, cruise, little day trip, get up in the morning.
Working out the time, and I'm gonna do it. I don't know how it was for you, but you have to do it 6 weeks to 3 months in advance. So I can't do it now because it's way too early, or the month you want.
Well, I did the email. Actually, yeah, I sent an email to his office deal at like the end of March, and then right before April, and then I remember I got an email from Kim Watkins, and she said, "Hey, if you hear back from him, let me know so we can post it and everything and stuff." And I was like, and me and Julie both emailed him, and then I'm not sure, I don't know if Vicky did or not, but anyways, but me and Julie both did, and we both got the same deal back in the mail. And so, but I had, I'm not so savvy on checking my mail all the time because it's not actually a box in front of my house. It's like at this little like sub box around the corner. It's like, that's what they do in these new neighborhoods now, is like they build these little sub boxes instead of mail, like in one spot. And so, anyways, and so it's like, I'm not expecting anything. So, so I finally, start, go checking my mail, and like, I found out I got that, MRF box, the gift box for, I was like, cool. I was like, man, I don't know. It might sat there a week. I mean, I think it maybe did. And then I was like, damn. And then, same thing. And I was like, oh, I got to start checking my mail like way more often because like, I was like, this is cool. I mean, I was heading out the door to go, I remember where I was going. I was like, I texted my mom. I was like, look at this.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know, celebrate the, things that was like, man, it was like, I know I was working hard at something. That's kind of like a metaphor for life. It's kind of like the things you're working on right now, might not have immediate reward, you know, but the things you're doing aren't going unnoticed. And then at some point, you know, like, you know, yeah, maybe somebody might notice.
I've been hustling really hard since I was diagnosed, but I only feel, you know, within the last few years, because I'm really putting myself out there, and I'm putting myself out there in a way that not a lot of people do. So I think it's now like the message is getting heard, and I'm very thankful for that. So yeah, that's all.
Straight up. Well, I mean, it's like, I forget the specific statistics, you know, but it's like the chance of getting melanoma is like, you know, you do know that certain kinds you know how to prevent, you know what I mean? The other kinds you don't, you know, like acral and mucosal and a lot of other ones, but, you know, cutaneous, you know, it's like you can put on a hat, you can wear sunscreen. So, I mean, I'm going.
I've had people like debate, like, I'm not here for the sunscreen debate, the chemicals or whatever. Have you been faced with death because of this? Probably not, but just do something. Like, don't use it. Cover up, seek the shit. Well, other ways to do
you know, there's a
little bit of everything.
Like when I go, you know, do the outdoor thing, like the lake or the pool and this and that, like you know, I go and I bought rash guards, you know what I'm saying? Like I was a SoCal, I mean, it's like what I would have wore if I was at the beach going like boogie boarding or surfing or something, you know what I'm saying? I'd be wearing a rash guard, you know what I mean? Like at least, you know, and so, you know, I mean, literally get some of that. I mean, it's, you know, you're not, you know, worry about, oh, I don't have this and that, but I mean, you're covering with something, you know what I mean? But, you know, get a water hat, you know what I mean? Always have a spare pair of sunglasses if you can get them that are called your pool glasses, you know what I mean? You don't care if they get scratched or wet, you know what I mean? It don't matter.
I already had those though, because
well, yeah, exactly.
Get lost. Like, don't bring your $400 glasses to the lake.
You know, I ended up, speaking of glasses, I had to get prescription like inserts that go into my snowboard goggles. Oh, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because otherwise I'd have to order like prescription, like, I mean, like, you know, glasses and everything. I mean, like I can see and everything, but like I can't like read street signs. You know what I'm saying? Like it's blurred. I mean, I could, you know what I mean? I could, if we're driving, I couldn't tell you like when to exit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I have to, you know. So, but so all my glasses, you know, sunglasses, you know, have to be prescription. You know what I'm saying? And like, you know, I'm glad they are, but I'm always like, make them darker. Make them darker. I don't want any light coming in my eyes. They're sensitive.
Yeah, no, same. I definitely have a lot of light sensitivity. I hate getting stuck behind the car with the like reflection.
It's real bright.
Right to your eye. And I'm like, I already have sunglasses on. So I'm thinking, and I see spots everywhere. Or even like at a movie theater sometimes, like the strobing.
Yes, too much.
Sunglasses to the movie theater.
Sensitivity, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, it hits, you know what I mean? Like, it's definitely different. I'm like, I don't know, my senses about yours, but I'm like, man, aren't you a little bit more like acuter and tuned to like certain things based upon, it's like, I don't know if it's like PTSD thing for me, you know what I mean? But I'm like, always like, you know.
I don't know, I'm just at this point to now where like, I like what I like, and or, you know, I may look crazy or whatever, but there's a reason behind it. You know, there's intention. I'm not wearing sunglasses like because I mean, it's my favorite accessory, but I wear them, you know, that song, I wear my sunglasses at night sometimes.
Yeah, I wear my sunglasses at night.
You know?
Right, yeah. That's an 80s track right there, right? Oh, man. Yeah, how music got me through everything. Like, this is kind of a funny story. Like, when I was going through my hospital stay on my clinical trial, I was given my 6 doses of IL-2 after my TIL. And when they do that, it gives you rigors. And to combat the rigors, like, you know, they can give you pain medication and stuff. And they give you just enough, you know, to where, like, you know, it feels pretty good. And then you pass out. You know, and stuff. And so it's like, you know, that when, you know, as that, like, it's kind of like that high's building up, it's like, you know, so I would turn on my, you know, my phone to like, Pandora, YouTube, or whatever I had, you know what I'm saying? I'd pull up like, some music and stuff, and then like just stuff that I could just jam out to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And stuff. And then like, that's what I would do, because it like hurts so much to just sit there and like, feel all the pain start kicking in, and the, shaking and all that stuff. And I was like, figure if I could like, jam out to it or whatever. And then, but so that's kind of what I did, after like, I learned it. But I was like, man, I always tell people my music literally played a huge role and kind of got me through, some serious parts, like both literally and like, metaphorically, you know what I'm saying?
Eric Church, because I think Eric Church's life, he came out when I was like, going to college and stuff. So I loved him back then, but like then he came out with new things. And so I really have a place for him. But like when I'm in the MRI machine, it's either country or like gangster rap. One or the other.
Straight up. You just tell them the genre. You don't give them an artist.
Rap, because gangster rap is now old, I guess.
It's
so,
yeah. You got to tell them like 90s rap.
Yes, 90s rap. So we just sound so old.
Well, you got to be like, you have to ask the dude, because some of the guys are playing Pandora, some of them are playing Spotify, and I'm like, what's your playlist? Like, what's your, this and that? I'm like, go to. Well, it's different because if I tell them to go to Pandora, and I'm like, my playlist on Pandora under Ghostface Killah is going to be different than what you put in. You know what I mean? So it's not going to play the same thing necessarily, but, maybe. I mean, you got a chance, but yeah, I'm usually like, do this, go to this, I don't know, something. But yeah, I love that now for the, in the MRIs, I'm like, I go in, I close my eyes once I get in there, and I don't even open them until I come back out, but I almost kind of fall asleep. It feels kind of euphoric for a sense because I jam out.
Itch or something, and I'm like, oh man, I can't move. Please go away.
That's like I used to like dread it, but now I'm kind of like, that's like, please, it's like everything's gonna be all good. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then I come out and I'm just like.
Yes, I'm like that, but it's like I just want to get over with.
Right. I gotta go.
This last time I did though, because it was one of those mobile ones, so it's like a newer machine, and so it's all live and pretty on the inside. But sometimes I have to go to those like old ones, like a death machine.
Right. You're like, oh my god. Like, so you don't scan at the same place at the same machine every time, or is it?
No, because I go to it's a Banner. It's called Banner. It's the hospital system here, and so they have different places where they scan you. And this last time I went to where it told me on my actual appointment, but I got there and they're like, you need to go down the road, and I was like,
so it's different locations, and it's like with the availability factor. It's like that's how they book you.
There was a time where I didn't have insurance, so I had to pay out of pocket. And so that place doesn't always have the cutting edge technology, but it was good enough to see if I had anything on my brain or not.
Right. That's kind of what I remember. That's how MD Anderson operated. I mean, they'd have these little places, all around. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, wherever I'm like, well, last time we scanned there, well, now you're scanning over here. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I'm like, and it's such a big department, and they don't care. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So that's where you really have to advocate for yourself. Like, it sucks because that's the last thing you want to do is like have to keep track of everything, but you kind of do.
I mean, if you got to, old fashioned, keep a notepad or, find some sort of organization on a smartphone, you know what I mean? Like, that's key. I mean, I think all doctors will let you, you know what I'm saying? But, just hit the record thing that comes with your phone so you can go back and listen to your convo because, a lot of time, I mean, sometimes the info just kind of like is like, I don't know, you can't absorb. If I didn't have somebody else with me or, be able to record it, anything, like I would have totally been lost because I wasn't actively looking at my scans and stuff when they were coming through. I would just go to the appointments. I didn't really start looking at my scans. I didn't start looking at my scans until like a year and a half after I was done doing treatment, and I knew like I was good and things are ned and stuff. And then I started looking at my scans and stuff, I had my mom give me her notebook, I'm like, give me your notebook. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to start trying to write all this, and I was like, did this all really happen? Like, oh man.
Yeah.
So it's just like so grateful sometimes, and I'm like, I don't know, and I'm just like so dedicated, and it feels just so my purpose is in my passion now, and my passion is in my I had a boss one time that told me like my business is people and people are my business, and I was like, it always kind of struck with me in a sense, and they kind of marinated on that, and I was just like, it all came to like, your purpose, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, what I was doing before, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it was the traditional thing. And it was like, I was always just doing that, not because I was just like, oh man, that's what I really want to do. But I was like, well, I need to finally, be making like money, and I have to be able to pay bills. And I was, this and that. And I was always kind of this like wandering soul of like, I don't know, I would have like, been super dope if I would have took the opportunity when I was, in my 20s or 30s and went and taught snowboard school. And did that for a while. I still kind of want to do that, you know what I mean? But it was like I just the energy factor, you know what I'm saying, to go just do the grind of like, the traditional thing, like wore me out, like I just and then the more it wore me out, the more it kind of pointed me in the direction of like, I got full-time advocacy. I mean, like, this is the world I want to be in, and so as long as I'm in it, like, I'm not, all the other worries that I normally would have been worried about are like, it's like Yoda says, he's like, train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose. And I was like, okay,
Yep.
And then, and so I'm like, man, like I'm honestly right now, I'm like, I built, you start building credit when you're 18 years old, right? You start getting your first credit card and all that and stuff. And so I built pretty good credit over the years and everything. And, it's probably been about 10 months now that I haven't been working, in the work world, but because, I was able to have good credit and this and that, I was able to savings and living off of that, but I was one of those things where I'm like, I'm willing to just, not destroy it, but kind of let it go and use it. I spent 20, some odd years, building it. Like, let me take a year, and use it, invest in myself, you know what I'm saying? I'm going full throttle, into this thing, you know what I'm saying? And, some shape, form or fashion, like, it's all going to be good. I just don't know exactly how it's specifically going to happen. I can't tell the future that far in advance. My crystal ball, only works so well. But I just know that if I grind at something and it's like whatever that rule is, if you do X amount of hours a day. I mean, but this is all I do all day, every day. Like I cut off my cable. Like, what I'm saying? Like, this is all I do. You know what I'm saying? Is try to like, look into this and figure out that and get involved. You know what I'm saying? Like, then, it'll be okay. So it's like, but yeah, I also have accepted that, plan B, eventually, I probably got to go stock some shelves and or something, so I can score, the insurance, because, Cobra on that will run out at a certain point, you know what I mean? It won't be an option, so, I mean, I got to figure out that realm, because I still need to, get scanned for my 5 years through my, initial clinical trial, goes all the way through the end of 24. So, because it's a 5-year thing, and I'm sure there should be extensions, for survivorship follow-up. But my initial trial is 5 years, ends in 24. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, but here,
you're doing good things. Keep it up.
It's going down. You know what I'm saying? It's that belief factor. The same. That's the whole thing. The reason I think like gonna make it, and whatever it is, because that's the same belief factor I had that I was gonna survive cancer. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I just believed I was going to do it. You know what I mean? It's the same kind of thing. And I'm like, I don't, can't start to explain to people logistically, like how it's going to happen. It's like, man, I didn't know how it was going to happen with that, but it did. So, you know what I mean? But man, I mean, I'm trying to step out and doing more, more interviews, need to start doing more lives, probably more reels. You know what I'm saying? I did start, branching out with them.
But, you just, so what I do is I started my business after the first time I was diagnosed, just as a way to get out into my community in a unique way. And then I I did cancer research, and now this advocacy stuff. And I still too have to work part-time, so I work at a school, but with kids with special needs, so I'm like technically special needs myself.
But it's like something that's like you like going to do. You're like, hey, it's cool. You know what I'm saying? It's all good.
Like
it's
I
good stuff.
Trouble, but we still have to be good boys and girls in life.
Yeah. You know, volunteer, be examples. You know what I'm saying? Like, go help out. I mean, like the daycare I was at when I was a kid, I remember we would go, like, no matter where it was, we'd go to, like, especially like the beach. And like, you know, before we ever left, they were always like, you know, you got to go pick up, you know, X amount of, not only your trash, but X amount of pieces of like just trash, period, that exist. You know, and that was what we would have to do everywhere we went. You know what I'm saying? It was like, yeah, you got to pick up the trash, do something. You know what I'm saying? Like, if everybody did something, you know, but anyways, I'm probably gonna go mow the yard here shortly and then go do my thing and everything. But yeah, let's get another call on, you know what I'm saying, on schedule. Like, you know, like
how far are you from San Antonio? I always forget.
It's like I think you can get to San Antonio in like 9 hours. Well, so check it out. Like Austin, all right, Waco is like 3 hours. Houston is 4 hours. Austin's like 3 or 4 hours, I think. I think San Antonio is south of Austin about, I don't know. I've never actually, it's messed up. I've lived here since '96. I've never been to Austin or San Antonio. I don't know.
So this year I finally was able to like put my cancer journey on slides. So I told my story at the University of Arizona. I was invited to San Antonio to tell my story eventually. I don't know when it's going to happen. And then my old oncologist moved there to do his research. So
you'd be going there to speak and do present. Nice. So, like, what do you mean? Like, you finally put it on slides? It was like, was that a submission requirement that?
No, it's just so that because when I travel, like sometimes I forget everything that I've been through because, like, that's what sucks about cancer.
There's so much.
But then you're like,
how much? Well, like, you know, it's like how much of your what version of your elevator speech are you giving?
Exactly.
You know, what's your audience? You know, how long of a time frame do you have, you know, and stuff. And so it was when I first like wrote out, you know, first started really doing it, like I would go detail for detail, saying like whatever. I didn't understand the concept or whatever. And it was like, oh yeah, like there's a way to like, you know, get to all the main points, you know, and tell the story and stuff. And I'm like, it was hard for me. It's still, I mean,
it is hard.
It is, you know what I mean?
I don't want to leave anything out.
Because everything's so important.
Yeah, like it's all important. So that's what I hate about business. Like, I feel like if you know me, you know me. Like I have like a heart on my sleeve. Sometimes I can let my emotions, like business, don't put your emotions into it. But it's like my artwork. It's my blood, sweat, and tears. And like, I'm really trying to get people to change their behaviors. So like, don't tell me to not, like it started on healing. So.
Well, just be like, yeah, don't knock my passion. You go, you know, I'm not knocking your passion. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it's going to be a great year. You know, I feel it. I just can feel it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just keep plugging along. Like, you know, I feel like I'm like, oh, I got all these ideas because I'm like, I see other people doing it throughout the country, like Patrick and those people at the minute, you know, I'm like, well, nobody's doing it over here. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, I should be that person here, you know?
Like, I feel the same way. So maybe it's just being pioneers of our landscape. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know,
I want people in my state to be just as like, can we go to our capital, you know, our state capital every year to talk like they do? Like they know their Senate people. And I'm like, I want to be that.
Right. I mean, like a little sub-separate goal, it was like, when I was diagnosed and everything, I'd go to look up, my diagnosis on the internet and everything. And it was real scary. And there's a lot of outdated stuff. And there wasn't a lot of like, positive survivor stuff, that was on, and everything. And I'm like, man, so I feel like I'm just kind of like, dedicated, and, to share that, so much to where like if people now go to look that up, they see positive, like inspirational, like good stuff rather than like this outdated negative, whatever. And it was kind of like, eventually, I mean, like if I'm, tagging everything, mucosal melanoma survivor on every single thing I do, you know what I'm saying? Like over and over, because on every platform, because, before it was like fewer than 10 posts, now fewer than 100 posts, like fewer than 1,000 posts, and so it's like, like you do it over, I mean, you become that voice, and then over time, it's just like, hey, I've been doing it in this space for this long, and out, you just, I mean, like
with me, with
there's no fail.
Necrosis, like people reach out because like that's not something that is tagged a lot. Like, and it's frustrating because people think it might be a little bit too in your face, but it's real freaking life. I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's scary stuff. I mean, it's straight up scary stuff. I mean, I rock. This is, become my new. I always had this, no one fights alone bracelet. My sister gave this to me when I was actually going through my treatment. But, and any other bracelet I ever had always broke, but I always stayed around. But, since we got the new ones with this, this cancer, I was like, oh man, like I just, all day, baby, every day. Like I messaged them and was like, oh, I love y'all. I'm doing a charity tournament. Can I get some stickers or something? And they're like, email us. And I emailed them. I was like, hey, like, I love y'all. Like, and I never heard back from them. I'm like, dude, what's going on? So I need to hit them up again and be like, yo, like, I really like you. I will promote. This is my, this was my montage.
Really annoying. That's how I like to be. Like,
I mean, yeah, I'm not going to be like, I'm going to be assertively aggressive. About it. It's just, whatever I, can, what I'm saying, especially for this pickleball deal, you know what I mean? Like, the next one we'll definitely plan out in advance, I asked Nicole from the MRF when I was talking to her about it. She's like, normally, Chris, people plan these like 6 to 8 months in advance. And I'm like, well, this is going to be like 6 to 8 weeks max.
Yeah, sometimes you have to just get.
I just winged it, and I was like, I don't know. And so I'm taking notes for sure. You know what I'm saying? And then so that way the next one. But first thing I did was we picked like the end of May, which is like graduation season in Texas, and so that kind of hindered our registration and everything. So we moved it out to June 24th. And everything, we're having to change a few things up, but at the same time, we're able to continue to gather more sponsors and more swag, and then, spread the word, because, not everybody can come or not everybody can play, but, they can still come and hang out for a little bit if they want, or they can donate if they want, or whatever, what I'm saying? It's all good. Yeah. But, I was like, you only fail 100% of the chances that you don't take. So if I, I mean, it's all good. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just, it's like, man, this is going to be cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then just try to build on it for the next one. You know what I'm saying? And just get more of a presence, because, hopefully we can start getting like, the news people's, involved, with the TV, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. And so, I mean, try to same thing, make a noise, and then I'll be like, hey, our neighbor states, couple neighbors.
My hometown, and so I feel like it's about who you know, and then they're a little bit too high class. So
do you got to go to the next town and make a noise, and then be like, hey, tell my own town?
So like I've already made a noise, like I made it nationally. So
yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up.
I went to Washington D.C.
Man, I'm so stoked. Yeah. Cheese.
Okay.
I'm so stoked for next year's advocacy days. I got that in my camp, or I hit up both Cody from the MRA and was like, when's the scientific retreat next year? And then I hit up Kylie and was like, when's the advocacy, or Kim, was the advocacy days next year? I'm gonna put this in my calendar. I'm like, it's already in there. Like, you let me know. I'm ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm super stoked. Whatever y'all need. So.
Yep, same.
But anyways, I appreciate you coming on. We're gonna call it a call. Thank you so much. But yeah, let's do this again. This was super fun.
Yep. Have fun gardening, mowing.
Oh my God, it's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be beautiful. I got such good blooms. Oh, I'll mail you pictures. I'll send them to you.
Please.
Send them to you. All right. Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.